The fluorescent lights hummed their tired song in the empty hallway of Riverside Elementary as Marcus Williams pushed his car down the polished linoleum, the wheels squeaking a rhythm he'd grown to love over the past 3 years. At 42, his calloused hands told the story of a man who'd learned that dignity wasn't found in a job title, but in how you treated the people around you. The janitor's uniform might not have impressed anyone, but Marcus wore it like armor of protection for a heart that had been shattered when his wife died, leaving him to raise their 7-year-old son Tommy alone. It was 6:47 p.m. on a Tuesday when Marcus first noticed her, a small figure hunched in the corner of Mrs. Patterson's third-grade classroom, knees drawn to her chest, dark hair falling like a curtain around her face. Most kids would have been picked up hours ago, but there she sat, silent as a shadow. "Hey there, sweetheart," Marcus called softly, parking his cart by the door. "School's been out for a while now. Your folks coming to get you?" The girl didn't look up, didn't move, didn't acknowledge his presence at all. Marcus had seen enough hurt in his own son's eyes after losing his mother to recognize the signs. This wasn't defiance or rudeness, this was pain so deep it had stolen her voice. Over the next week, Marcus found her in the same spot every evening, always alone, always silent, always waiting. He'd tried asking the office staff about her, but they'd just shrugged and said her driver was usually late. Her name was Lily Chen, they told him, and she was new to the school. That was all they knew, or at least all they were willing to share. Marcus began timing his cleaning route to end at Mrs. Patterson's classroom. He'd work quietly around Lily, humming old songs his wife used to love, occasionally sharing stories about his day or asking gentle questions he didn't expect her to answer. The janitor in him noticed things others missed: the way her expensive clothes never seemed to fit quite right, how she clutched a worn stuffed rabbit that looked out of place next to her pristine backpack, the way her eyes followed him with a mixture of curiosity and longing. "You know," Marcus said one evening, carefully wiping down the whiteboard while Lily sat in her usual corner, "my boy Tommy is about your age. He's got this thing where he collects bottle caps, not for any particular reason, mind you, just likes the way they feel in his pocket. Sometimes the simplest things bring us the most comfort." For the first time, Lily lifted her head slightly. Marcus pretended not to notice, continuing his work while keeping his voice steady and warm. "Tommy's been asking if he can come to work with me sometime, maybe bring some of those bottle caps to show someone. I told him that might be okay, if there was someone here who might appreciate seeing them." The next evening, Marcus brought Tommy along. His son, all freckles and boundless energy, bounded into the classroom with a mason jar full of bottle caps, his gap-toothed grin lighting up the room. "Dad said there might be someone here who likes collections too," Tommy announced, plopping down cross-legged in front of Lily's corner. "I've got 247 bottle caps. Wanna see?" Marcus held his breath. Lily stared at Tommy for a long moment, then slowly reached into her backpack and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside were dozens of smooth river stones, each one perfectly round and worn by water. "Whoa," Tommy breathed. "Those are beautiful. Where'd you find them?" Lily opened her mouth as if to speak, then closed it again, but she held up 2 fingers, then pointed to herself, then made a motion like running water. 2 years? Tommy guessed. "You've been collecting them for 2 years?" Lily nodded, and for the first time since Marcus had been watching her, she almost smiled. Over the following weeks, an unlikely friendship bloomed. Tommy would chatter endlessly about his bottle caps, his school day, his dreams of becoming an astronaut, firefighter, scientist when he grew up. Lily would listen, occasionally nodding or shaking her head, sometimes arranging her stones in patterns that seemed to respond to Tommy's stories. Marcus watched it all unfold while he worked, his heart swelling with something he'd almost forgotten how to feel: hope, not just for Lily, but for his own ability to make a difference in the world, one small act of kindness at a time. It was during the 4th week that Lily whispered her first word. Tommy had been showing her a particularly special bottle cap, one from a soda his late mother had shared with him before she got sick. His voice had grown quiet as he explained its significance, and Lily had reached out to touch it gently. "Pretty," she whispered, so softly Marcus almost missed it. Tommy's eyes went wide. "Did you just Dad?" she talked. Marcus felt tears prick at his eyes as he turned from the desk he was cleaning. "I heard it too, buddy. That was pretty special." Lily looked terrified, as if she'd done something wrong, but Tommy just grinned bigger. "It is pretty, isn't it? Mom always said the most important things don't cost money, they cost love." From that moment on, Lily began to emerge from her shell like a flower reaching toward sunlight. Her whispers came more frequently, usually single words or short phrases directed at Tommy, sometimes at Marcus. She told them about her stones, how she found them during walks with her grandmother before she passed away. She shared that she liked the way the classroom smelled like markers and hope. She even laughed once when Tommy tried to balance bottle caps on his nose. What Marcus didn't know was that every evening for the past month, Dr. Victoria Chen had been sitting in her Mercedes in the school parking lot, watching through the classroom window as her daughter, her brilliant, traumatized, silent daughter, slowly came back to life. Victoria Chen was a name that commanded respect in boardrooms across the country. As CEO of Chen Industries, she controlled an empire worth billions, made decisions that affected thousands of employees, and had been featured on the cover of Fortune magazine 3 times. But she couldn't figure out how to reach her own 8-year-old daughter. Lily had stopped speaking after Victoria's mother died 6 months ago. The therapists called it selective mutism brought on by grief and trauma. Victoria had hired the best specialists, enrolled Lily in the most prestigious school, provided everything money could buy. Nothing worked. Her daughter retreated further into silence with each passing day, and Victoria felt helpless in a way that no amount of corporate success could fix. She'd been working late again when she got the call that Lily's driver was stuck in traffic. Victoria had rushed to the school herself, prepared to apologize profusely to whatever teacher had been inconvenienced by having to wait. Instead, she'd found the building seemingly empty except for the distant sound of voices coming from Lily's classroom. Following the sound, Victoria had discovered something that stopped her heart. Her daughter, her silent, withdrawn daughter, sitting on the floor playing with some boy while a janitor worked quietly nearby. And Lily was talking. Night after night, Victoria returned, parking where she could see but not be seen, watching this impossible miracle unfold. She saw Lily laugh for the first time in months. She heard her daughter's voice, tentative and whispered but real. She watched as a man in a janitor's uniform accomplished what teams of expensive doctors could not. The man Marcus, she'd learned his name from eavesdropping, spoke to Lily with a gentleness that made Victoria's chest ache. He didn't push or prod or analyze. He simply accepted her exactly as she was while creating a space where she felt safe enough to be herself again. Victoria found herself crying in her car more nights than she cared to admit. Tears of relief that her daughter was healing, tears of shame that it had taken a stranger to reach her child, tears of gratitude toward a man who had no idea how completely he changed their world. The breaking point came on a Friday evening when Victoria arrived to find Lily's classroom empty. Panic seized her throat until she heard laughter coming from down the hall. Following the sound, she discovered Lily and Tommy in the art room, painting pictures while Marcus cleaned around them. "What are you painting, sweetheart?" Marcus asked Lily, and Victoria held her breath. "It's my mom," Lily said clearly, her voice stronger than Victoria had heard it in months. "She works really hard, but I think she's sad. I want to give this to her so she knows I still love her." Victoria pressed her hand to her mouth to stifle a sob. In the painting, she could see herself through Lily's eyes, a figure in a business suit, but with tears on her face and arms reaching out as if searching for something. That night, Victoria made a decision that would have shocked her board of directors. She cleared her schedule for Monday afternoon and waited in the school parking lot, not hidden this time, but parked right by the main entrance. When the final bell rang, she walked into Riverside Elementary like she belonged there, her heels clicking against the linoleum as she made her way to Lily's classroom. She found them in their usual spots, Lily on the floor with Tommy, Marcus cleaning nearby. "Mommy?" Lily's voice was a whisper of surprise. Victoria knelt down, not caring about her expensive suit hitting the floor. "Hi, baby. I was hoping I could meet your friends." Marcus straightened up, clearly recognizing her as someone important but not sure from where. Tommy jumped to his feet with characteristic enthusiasm. "Are you Lily's mom? She painted a picture of you." "I'm Tommy, and this is my dad Marcus." He's the best janitor in the whole world, and he helped Lily find her voice again. Victoria looked up at Marcus, this man who had given her back her daughter, and saw him blush with embarrassment. "Ma'am, I'm sorry if we were keeping Lily too long. I know you must be busy." "Please," Victoria interrupted, her voice thick with emotion, "don't apologize. You've given me back something I thought I'd lost forever." Marcus looked confused, but Lily scrambled to her feet and threw her arms around Victoria's neck. "Mommy, Marcus and Tommy are my best friends. They helped me remember how to talk because they listened with their hearts instead of just their ears." Victoria held her daughter tight, looking over Lily's shoulder at Marcus. "I've been watching," she admitted quietly. "Every night for weeks, I've been sitting in my car, watching my daughter come back to life because of your kindness." Marcus's eyes widened with understanding, then softened with compassion. "She's a special little girl. You should be proud." "I am proud of her," Victoria said, standing but keeping Lily close. "And I'm grateful to you in ways I don't know how to express." What happened next surprised everyone, especially Victoria herself. Instead of offering money or making grand gestures, she simply asked, "Would it be okay if I stayed, just for a little while? I'd like to hear more about these bottle caps and river stones." And so began an unlikely friendship that would change all their lives. Victoria learned to leave the office early, to sit on classroom floors, to listen to her daughter with the patience Marcus had shown her. Marcus discovered that kindness knows no social boundaries, that sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who need gentleness most. Tommy gained not just a friend in Lily, but a benefactor who would ensure his college dreams came true, not out of obligation but out of genuine affection for the boy who had helped heal her daughter. Lily found her voice again, but more than that, she found a family that extended beyond blood, a community built on the simple foundation of caring for one another. 6 months later, at Lily's birthday party held in the school gymnasium that Marcus now supervised instead of just cleaned, Victoria stood watching her daughter blow out 9 candles surrounded by friends. Marcus approached, wearing a new shirt but the same gentle smile. "Thank you," Victoria said simply. "For what?" "For seeing her, for seeing all of us, really, and treating us like we mattered." Marcus shrugged, still uncomfortable with praise. "Every kid matters. Every person matters. I just did what anyone would do." "No," Victoria said firmly, "you did what you would do, and that made all the difference." As Lily's laughter filled the gymnasium, mixing with Tommy's excited chatter and the warm hum of conversation from a dozen new friends, Victoria realized that sometimes the most profound changes come not from grand gestures or expensive solutions, but from the simple act of one human being choosing to care for another. In a world that often felt cold and disconnected, Marcus Williams had reminded them all that kindness was still the most powerful force on earth, and that sometimes, it just takes one person willing to listen with their heart to change everything.